Hello, everybody. weebrabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload podcast, episode 47. This podcast, just saying it right off the top, it's going to be, I always say this and it ends up not being short, but I'm pretty sure this one will be short because we do not have much time. We were looking at our schedule and it's kind of like, ooh, do you have time to like jump on and do a podcast? And we're like, maybe if it's really quick. So this is probably going to be a really speedy one. We're probably going to speed through it. And with that being said, it's also going to be done in a bit of a different order, which you guys will see in a moment. But before that, I want to introduce the legend Jonathan. He is here. Say hello.
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm back for the podcast, and yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Nice.
Hello.
Yeah, he's here. I think he's checking his audio. I know he was having some audio problems earlier. Besides that, though,
Yeah,
like I said, what we're going to do, we don't have too much time, so it's going to be just really brief. And there was like a big thing that we want to talk about anyway. What we're going to do is I'm going to actually start my week by going over the anime that I've been watching, just a quick little recap. And then after that, I think I will, stop talking about them until the season is over. Hopefully next week or whenever. I'll talk about some new anime that I started watching because I have some other ones on my list. And then Legend John's going to talk about some of the stuff he's played. And because I also played those things, it's actually some pretty big titles. We'll probably both talk about them. And then that'll be it for this week because, like I said, we kind of don't have too much time. So, it'll be a short podcast this week, but next week should be our big celebration for the 1 year anniversary. So hopefully we'll make up for it, next week.
yeah.
With that being said, just really quick, jumping into my week, I watched, as I mentioned last couple of weeks, I watched Spy Family season 2. This time I watched the third episode, and yeah, it has been a pretty good season so far. I said how, the first episode was focusing on like the main three characters. Then the second episode was focusing on their dog Bond, and then a bit on Damien, who's that boy that goes to Anya's school. He's like the little rival kid or whatever. And this episode was kind of the same, where it just kind of keeps expanding on other cast members, people in the show. This episode focused on Yor's brother Yuri. That he works for like the secret police or whatever. And it was quite interesting because Yuri is kind of a weird character. He definitely has that whole, cis-con thing going on where he's kind of obsessed with his sister and he's all overprotective of her and really doesn't like Lloyd or Anya for like, being her new family or whatever. And like, he has like that obsession with his sister. He's kind of annoying in
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
sense. And he's kind of one note. And it also kind of contrasts with the fact that he's like a secret police, so he's always kind of like a dick. Like he's very hardcore about his job, very like sadistic and stuff. This episode kind of shows that there's some depth to him though. Without spoiling too much, basically it shows him on a case, investigating a person, spying on them. But then it kind of showed some depth where when there was stuff involving the guy's family and kind of, some interactions about the guy's family that even though he's breaking like the law and doing these things, it kind of showed some cracks in Yuri's usual facade. And so I just thought that was interesting that so there's a bit of depth here to him where he's not just, the sadistic, really patriotic cop or whatever. When it comes to stuff involving family, there's like some stuff there to him. It shows like he has kind of some soft spots. And I'm wondering how that will play into, the fact that he's a police officer and he doesn't know that his sister's an assassin and he has like that animosity towards his brother-in-law. And what'll happen when it's discovered that his brother-in-law is like this spy and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's really interesting, like seeing some of that like depth to him. And I wonder how that will play into the future, when we actually see more of these identities. And because I feel like they can't just keep everything a secret forever, right? Like at some point
Yeah.
Yor and Lloyd will probably figure out each other's identities, and Yuri will probably figure out their identities as well and all that. So I'm wondering, what's going to happen when we get there. So I thought it was kind of interesting seeing it kind of planted some seeds in that, which is really interesting. And then
Mhm.
besides that, there was some shorts where it just showed more of Anya, being a gremlin and Lloyd not really understanding kids and stuff, which is really funny. And I don't know, it was some cute stuff. So pretty fun episode, good stuff. And I keep recommending Spy Family. It's just been really fun. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. Comes out like on Saturdays. It's when it comes out on Crunchyroll. And I've just been like, yeah, it really makes Saturdays kind of fun. Saturdays and Spy Family, a pretty good combination. So I recommend it. It's pretty good. So we'll
Yes.
see if hopefully the rest of the season, we'll see where it goes. You know what I mean? But it's been a good season so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Then after that, I watched the second episode of Undead Unluck. And yeah, it just continues to be really interesting. Where, if you remember last time I said that, okay, there's only like 10 spots or whatever in that like organization, and they killed one of the members, which is this weird robot guy. So the girl, Fuko, her spot is like guaranteed. But, Andy, maybe he needs to kill someone so he can take the spot, so he can join the ranks. And so they make their way to like Russia or whatever, where they're supposed to meet the organization member. And first of all, them on their way there was really interesting. We saw more of her powers and Andy trying to convince Fuko that, you got to be more confident in your powers and whatever. So that was kind of interesting. And then after
Yeah.
that, they arrive in Russia and they split up because Andy said he was going to go see if he could meet up with some of his old war buddies. So he left Fuko on her own to like explore the beach area. Um, well, I don't know if you call it a beach, but it's like near a lake, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know what you call it. But the point is, she was hanging out. She was kind of, exploring and all that stuff because she's never really, because of her power and how she's unlucky and she kind of stays away from people and stuff. She like hadn't really ever really been anywhere. She was kind of a shut in. And so she was exploring like the lake or whatever. And she runs across this mysterious woman in a sailor um, uh, school uniform. And basically they're drawing. And we kind of get a little bit, the one thing I think is really interesting, a little bit of, I guess, world building that she's drawing the lake, Fuko.
Yeah.
And she's drawing the lake and it's the lake at night and there's like a moon, right? And then
Hmm.
around the moon, there's stars, which doesn't sound weird at all. Okay, she drew the lake at night. You see the moon, there's stars around it. But the girl, woman, whatever, with the sailor outfit, she asks her, "Oh, what's that you drew around the moon?" And she's like, "Oh, it's because, like, the moon, it's up there by itself. I know there's nothing else in the sky, but I thought it looked kind of lonely, so I drew some friends with it." So it's implying
Damn.
that whatever world they're living in, stars don't exist, I guess.
Damn.
So I wonder what the implication is there. It just felt very weird the way they kind of like drew attention to that. I'm like, that's a weird little like world
Yeah, it's
building
very
lore thing,
weird.
right? Sounds really interesting. Anyway, the point is, after that, the lady reveals herself that she's actually a member of the organization, and we kind of had seen a little bit of her earlier, and she seems to have some sort of an obsession with Andy, or she's kind of going like full yandere, talking about how she
Yeah.
talks about him, and basically the episode ends where they're gonna fight her, you know. So
Damn.
it felt like more of a setup episode more than like anything actually happening, but very interesting that we saw. And I remember the organization. It's this lady. She seems really crazy. She seems like she's obsessed with Andy a little bit. And yeah, just some of that world building about what's up with the sky not having stars. Pretty weird.
Hmm.
But
It's
once
very
again,
weird.
yeah, they just keep building on this world and the lore and the powers and stuff. So yeah, it's been a very intriguing show, and I'm enjoying it. And it'll be really interesting, same as Spy Family, to see where it goes this season. So I keep recommending it, and I am excited to see where it goes. I think it has good potential. And yeah, like I said, this is like the last time I'm talking about all of these because I hope to talk about some new ones, next week or whatever. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm really excited, and I hope more people check it out because it's been really interesting so far. It's a very interesting new property, so pretty cool.
They've been pretty cool these last two series.
Yeah, yeah. Everything I've watched so far this season has been really good. I've been actually like a lot of winners.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, I watched the third episode of the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. And it's
Okay.
crazy because it's a very goofy premise, as I've discussed. You know, Rotaro and the fact that he's destined to have like 100 soulmates or whatever, and so far he has the two girlfriends. Like, it's so goofy, and it's really like out there. You know what I mean? Which is kind of the point, right? It's supposed to be like kind of like making fun of like harem animes and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But it's so crazy because if you remember from last week, I said, okay, it ends where he's at the library and he touches hands with this girl, and it's like, oh, the spark happens, so this is gonna be like his third soulmate. What's crazy is that this was actually a very heartfelt episode.
Damn.
Like, you wouldn't think it was gonna be like that, like heartfelt and emotional, like because of the premise, where it's like really stupid, right? Like all these different girls join his harem. But the way like
Mm.
his interaction with this girl, that the new girl, she's like this really short little shy girl named Shizuka. And basically she is like a librarian at the school library. And she's really shy. She's always reading. She's really introverted. And basically when they meet, he tells her that, oh, you know, he likes romance novels. And if she can recommend anything that has a happy ending, because he's like a sucker for like, I guess, you know, stories with happy endings. And she gets all excited because I guess she really likes those stories too. And so she recommends him a whole bunch of books. And the whole joke is that he says that he'll check them out, but I guess he like didn't have a library card, so like the librarian, like the main librarian, told him like, "Oh, you'll have to wait like a couple weeks before you can like, you know, get your library
Damn.
card." And he's all sad. So Shizuka lets him borrow her favorite book, and it's like this story about like a knight and a princess, you know, blah blah blah. And as he's reading it, he like self inserts like it's him and Shizuka or whatever, and he really likes it. And he goes and he tells her that, you know, he really likes it or whatever, and he's gonna give her the I mean, she's gonna give him the second volume of it. Oh, before that, we see that she only talks by pointing to lines in the book. Like, she's read it so many times that she knows like all the lines. And so instead of talking, she points to lines in the book, right? To like express what she's feeling and stuff, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And basically, you know, he goes home, he reads the first volume or whatever. He's gonna read the second one. And he like doesn't show up though to school for a few days or something like that. I don't remember exactly the order of how things happen. And she's all sad. And then she sees him hanging out with his two girlfriends. And that's where she realizes, like, oh, like he already has a girlfriend. Like, I should have known that, like, you know, I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up, this and that. And when he doesn't show up to school, she's like, oh, of course, no one has time to like speak to like a freak like me. And that's where we get her like story that's really sad, that because she's all introverted and she's all shy or whatever, and she likes books, that like she's always been like bullied, and that even like her mom was like mistreating her and abusing her and calling her a freak and a bunch of stuff.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, like her mom was like super screwed up. Like she's like, oh, like you need to stop being a freak and be normal, and like always having like your head in books, like all sorts of like really nasty stuff, right? And so we see that she's like really lonely, like she doesn't have any friends, you know, all this stuff. And then that's when our boy, you know, he shows up and he's like, oh, what I did is like I made like this app for you where I put all of like the dialogue from like the book in the app. And when you like click a certain line, text to speech will like say it out loud for you. Cause he's like, yeah, because it must be so hard, you know, having to like always, you know, be digging through the book to tell people what you want to say. And like, you can't even like have like a proper conversation, like where you're like looking at them or whatever. And then that's where she like uses like the text to speech thing that says that she loves him. And he says that like, oh, you know, like I love you too or whatever. And like, you know, he's asking his girlfriends if this girl can join his harem. And the Sundari one, of course, is like all mad and asking if he's on crazy. But then the other one, the rich one with the pink hair, she's like, oh my God, like you've opened up your heart to someone else and like blah, 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 and like all this dumb shit. And so, you know, girl
Oh,
joins the harem. So he has
yeah.
three members now. So that was pretty goofy ending. But all of the
Mhm.
stuff of like the girl's backstory and kind of how he connects with her and stuff was
That's
really
sad.
sweet. It was really sweet. So I was actually surprised, like, damn, like this thing is like so stupid and so goofy, but I wouldn't have guessed it would have such a like a heartfelt like moment, you know, like the way he connects with her and
Hmm.
stuff. So I'm like, all right, good play, anime, good play, good play. And yeah, I keep recommending it. Like it's goofy, but then it has moments like this that are like really like heartfelt and like I don't know. It's just been really fun so far. It's been a really fun experience so far, and I'm just excited to see where else this goes. You know what I mean? So again, another one that I recommend. So like, there's been some pretty good anime this season. You know what I mean? So again, I'm just excited to
Hmm.
see where this goes because I've heard good things for people who have like read the manga, and so I'm just excited to see how far this season will take it because I'm sure it's not going to cover everything, but I hope it has like a good first season and we'll see how much more we get, you know? So good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, the last one I wanted to talk about is that I watched the second episode of Stardust Telepath, and it continues to be very cute. For anyone who doesn't remember, this is the one about the girl that she's gonna start high school, but she's really shy. She's really introverted. She's always talked about how she has trouble connecting to people, and that's why her dream has always been to go to space, and she wants to like meet aliens. And then, sure enough, a girl named Yu, who's an alien, actually crash lands on Earth and makes friends with her. And they become quick friends or whatever. And they talk about how they're going to make a rocket to like go to space one day. And the second
Yeah.
episode was basically about another schoolmate that she saw them going into the lighthouse where Yu lives. And she was kind of questioning him about it. Her name is Haruno. And Haruno basically, we had seen her before in the first episode, that she's the one who talked to Umika, our main character, and was trying to be nice to her, but like Umika like didn't really know how to respond. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so she kind of joins the little friend group, and Umika's really grateful because you know she likes Haruno, that she's always been like helpful in the past or whatever. And so she joins the friend group, and then the episode is all about them like practicing. You know, if they're going to build a rocket to go to space someday, you know they got to practice, but they got to start small. And so it shows that they made some bottle rockets and whatever, and they launch it and it does well, and they're happy because it's like, hey, we made some progress. So they were happy, you know. So pretty simple,
Yeah.
you know, pretty straightforward, but very cute, very fun. And yeah, they added another person to the friend group. And based on the intro, they're probably gonna have like a few people, you know, but it's pretty cool that like, hey, you know, another person for the friend group, more fun, more bonding, and yeah, they're working on their rockets. So there you go. Pretty cute.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah, so there you go. Another one that I don't know. Yeah, out of the four that I've mentioned that I started this season, all four of them are pretty good. So I'm happy that it's been a very good season, and I already have other stuff on my list that also looks like it's really good. So it looks like this is a very strong season. So there you go. Hopefully, out of what I've talked about, hopefully I can convince someone or you know, kind of push someone that's listening to this to kind of go watch those because they've been fun and I've enjoyed it. So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. And of course, the other thing I did this week is that I played some stuff, which I know you're going to talk about. So I'll let you start those and then I'll jump in where I feel is necessary to give my opinion. So,
Okay, so the games we are talking about, which I played and he played too, are Sonic Superstars and Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
yeah.
So, me, I played Sonic Superstars first because I got it early, like before the Wonder, and it was pretty good. I like it. I think that, like other classic Sonic games, it doesn't really go deep into plot, which I kind of like. It's usually like you having to, do the Chaos Emerald thing, then plot starts to unfold from there.
Hmm.
But unlike Mario Wonder, which I'm about to get to in a bit, I didn't really play Sonic that much. I only played like maybe like the first two levels, and that was kind of it.
Oh, okay.
And like
Gotcha.
I did like the game, and I definitely am gonna beat it. But like I don't know. I think I just ended up liking Mario more, which I'm about to get to why. But yeah, I think it's pretty good though. Like if I'm being honest, I do think it's pretty good. And I think it's a pretty good continuation from like, Sonic 1, 2, 3, CD 3, then like, Mania, I think it's a pretty good continuation from there. And I'm actually happy that based off the trailers and stuff and like the introduction, I'm actually happy that we brought back Fang the Sniper and they introduced that little character Trip, I'm pretty happy about that. And I don't know, man. I think it's pretty good. What's your opinion on the game so
Yeah, I was gonna
far?
say, I guess I played it a little bit more than you because you say you only did like the first like two levels.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually played a bit more. To got to like four levels. Yeah, I want to say it's like four levels. I got to like four levels, so I got like farther than you. Um, yeah, a lot of what you said. I also am enjoying the game. I think it's pretty fun. I like that you get to choose like from the four different characters. They play pretty similar though. I thought they were gonna be a bit more different. Uh,
No, I have a
yeah,
feeling
because
they probably
because
weren't.
because
Yeah.
I guess from all the newer Sonic games, you know how like usually okay, Sonic plays this way, and then Knuckles, he always does like the gliding and the digging, and Tails has like the machines, and Amy, oh, she has like the hammer. You know what I mean? I guess I don't know, something about like the way
Be
the
used to the
trailers kind
3D
of
game.
show. Yeah, and something about, I guess about the way the trailer showed it too made me like for some reason I thought they were gonna play differently. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that.
Hmm.
And then once I got my hands on, I'm like, oh no, they all play like the same. Like even Amy that has the hammer, like when you jump, instead of like just like think about how like when you jump, how Sonic like bumps an enemy like when you jump on the top of them. Amy
Hmm.
does the same thing, but her sprite just shows that she's like swinging the hammer every time she jumps.
Yeah, that's
So
I
it's
can
the
see
same
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The only thing is that her sprite is different. Where like when she jumps, as she's like a little ball, it just shows like the hammer's like swinging around her. But it doesn't. It's not like it like affects like the hitbox or anything differently. So I'm like, oh, that's different. I thought like she was gonna literally run around swinging the hammer. I thought she was gonna have like more like a little bit more distance. Like, oh, like, if you pick her, she can hit enemies from a little farther because of like the hammer. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was gonna be different. I don't
Mhm.
know. That side though doesn't matter. Whatever. I thought it was gonna be different, but it's not. But that's fine. So everybody
Hmm.
plays pretty much the same, but at least it's okay. You get to pick wherever you want. So that's kind of fun.
Hmm.
And yeah, I like the game. I think it's fun. I think the fact that you get to pick from like the four different characters, I think that's pretty fun, even if they're not that, different or whatever. I like the level designs. I think they've been pretty cool. I've been like in a jungle with a bunch of like vines and stuff.
Yeah, that's the second level.
I've been in, what was the first level?
The I forgot what the name of it's called, but it's supposed to be like the Green Hill Zone, but it's kind of like Seaside Hill from like Sonic
Yeah,
Heroes. It's kind of like
there,
that.
yeah, exactly. So you have like your standard, kind of Green Hill zone looking thing where it's like a lot of grass and little like ramps and stuff. Then, there's like a jungle area, which is really cool. There was a like casino circus level and stuff and like a temple area, something like that. So
Oh, the
I like the
typical.
yeah, but I think like the designs and like the areas were just fun to like navigate through,
Hmm.
and like all the
I can
stuff is pretty
imagine.
cool. So I was having fun with that. Um, and then yeah, I think that's really cool, like the little cut scenes and like the animation and stuff. Really cool. I'm really glad they've been using that. I think it's like really, really well done animation, like little really fun cutscenes. And yeah,
Hmm.
I like you said that Fang the sniper is working with Eggman. I think that's really cool. He's like a pretty fun like character. And then I liked Trip. Trip's like a cute little character where she's like really clumsy, and she's like always doing
Hmm.
stuff to kind of foil the plans of like Fang and Eggman, which is like really fun. So I don't know. I
Hmm.
just think that the characters are like fun. I think the little cut scenes and stuff are like really well animated and stuff. They're like fun to watch. The gameplay's fun. The levels, designs, and stuff I've enjoyed so far. The only thing I don't really get is okay, how the Chaos Emeralds, the big thing here is that every time you get a Chaos Emerald, they show it off in the trailers. The Chaos Emeralds have like different powers, right? Like different abilities.
Yeah.
So it almost
Hmm.
kind of reminds me almost of like the Wisps, where like each Wisp had Sonic do something different, right?
Hmm.
I've gone into the Chaos Emeralds. One is that like little clones of Sonic or whoever you're playing
Hmm.
as, like a bunch of like
Yeah.
different like versions of him like fill the screen, right? And then the other one that I got is like a little, almost like a little speed bullet, is what they called it, I think, where like you press it and it gives you like an extra little like, wow, like it jumps towards like a certain area, right?
Yeah, I got
Um,
two Chaos Emeralds as well. Yeah.
okay, so even though you're a little far, you're a little behind me, okay, you got the Chaos Emeralds at the same rate I did, basically. Good. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, I just don't really use the powers.
Yeah, I hadn't really used the powers that much either.
And I don't really see like the point of like using them, if that makes sense. Like I feel like think of a Sonic game, especially as we're talking about like, okay, this is like in the style of, those original Sonic games, right? Like one and two and three and CD and all that stuff. Like I just play it the way I play those original Sonic games. Like I'm just busy just trying to get through the course. And I never even like really think like, oh, I should use one of the powers. And whenever I have really tried to use them, it doesn't feel like they like do much anyway, if that makes sense. So like they almost feel like an afterthought to me. I don't know. Maybe I'll feel different once I collect more of the powers. Maybe there's some that are a little bit more, but like so far
Mm,
it's just kind of like, oh, okay. Like if I even remember to use the powers, and like what I mean, I feel like I'm just like more busy just playing the game the way you would usually play it, just like getting through the levels. You know what I mean?
yeah. Another thing I think is that maybe it was made for like younger audiences that might have more trouble playing the Sonic games. Maybe.
So you
Or
think
like
that maybe
if
that's
like
how you would use them, like more like in that style, like to make it easier for you or something, I guess.
I guess it would be like that, or if it's like, let's say you're fighting a boss and then you're just like, oh, how am I gonna like get Eggman? And Eggman's too ahead, you would use the clones, and I guess the clones would just keep running until eventually they hit Eggman like a bunch of times, and then you finish the boss, like stuff like that, I guess. But like,
It
same
could
thing.
be. Yeah, it could be. I guess that could be exactly. I mean, I hadn't even like. I'm telling you, if I even remember to use them, I haven't even like used them on any of the bosses. I just used them like in the level, a couple times, and I was
Hmm.
kind of like, doesn't really do much for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's probably like maybe like just intended for maybe bosses because like the trailers kind of mislead you to think that it's like for casual use. And like instead, it might be kind of like using the Chaos Emeralds during the boss fights to turn super. Maybe it's like that, where it's like you use each individual piece to kind of finish off a boss or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense. Maybe next time I jump in, maybe next time I go against the boss, I'll try to use them to see if it's like, oh, that makes more sense. It feels like it actually does something here. Because, like I said, so far, if I even remember to use them, I don't know, they kind of feel like an afterthought to me, honestly.
Hmm.
But, I'll keep trying. Like I said, maybe it depends on the moves too. I only have two of them. So, but yeah, besides that, I've really enjoyed the game. I'm surprised that if anyone checks I understand why. I think for the review score, while like Mario and Spider-Man both got like 90s or whatever, this only got like a 75, I think. Like I
Hmm.
understand why, because like the game isn't like wow, like it's super like
Oh my
life
God.
changing or like super like oh my god, it's like really pushing, you know, like wow, it's pushing the series forward like incredibly. I mean, nothing super special.
Hmm.
But while I understand it, like gaining a score that's just fine, because like yeah, it's just fine. For a lot of people complain where they say they hate the game, which that's the part I don't get. Like I've
That
seen a
makes
lot.
no sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like a lot of complaints from people like really like not liking the game, and that's the part I don't get. Like I understand saying, "Oh, the game's nothing to write home about." That I can agree with because it's just fine. But for the people who are like hating it, that's the part I don't get because I think it's like fun. I think it's like really, charming presentation and like the gameplay's cool and like, you know what I mean? So for people to say that they hate it, that's where I'm kind of confused. I've seen like a lot of negativity, which I just, like I said, don't get. I think the game was fine. I think it's fun. I don't think it's going to be like game of the year or anything, but I still think it's a pretty good entry to like the Sonic series. I think it's like, okay, it's a pretty nice little continuation, and I'm glad they're still doing like 2D and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Um, I don't know, man. It's kind of like it's kind of like a joke that me and like some friends made once. I think it was like about like the NBA 2K games. It's always like the fan base of a specific game series that they always hate their own games. That's
I can
something
see
I've
that.
noticed.
Like I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like they said they're like NBA 2K players are the only people who hate 2K or something like that. NBA 2K. And
Oh
so we were
wow.
laughing about that. And I think they were talking about some other game, like a shooter game, and they're like the only people who hate on their own game.
Right? Like you think it would be like outsiders, instead it's like the people who play it the most are the ones who like hate it the most and like talk crap the most. Yeah, and I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that too, where you know how people were mad about the whole thing with Dragon Ball last time we were talking about?
Oh
It's
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's like that. It's like Dragon Ball Z fans. Someone even said it in the comments one. They're like, Dragon Ball Z fans are the only fans that hate Dragon Ball the most.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. You're right. Like sometimes the fan base itself is like the worst. So it's like calm
Yeah, it's
down.
so
Like,
weird.
yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah,
Um,
but regardless, there you go. I've had fun with it.
mhm.
I want to keep playing it, you know. I like it, so you know.
Yeah, I want to finish it. It seems pretty fun, you know.
Yeah, it's been fun so
Um,
far, so you know. All right,
mhm.
now I think you want to talk about the other one.
Oh my God, definitely. So the other one was Mario, Mario Bros. Wonder. Oh my God, I fell in love with it quickly. Like the moment I started it up,
It's really
um,
cool. It's
it's
really
really cool.
like, oh man, like I don't know. We're not gonna talk like too much about it because you can see like all
Hmm.
of like the big Nintendo YouTubers. I've seen them kind of, talk about this in detail, and I've
Hmm.
seen, for instance, the big one is that blue Muppet guy Arlo. He's
Hmm.
talked all about Mario and creativity and when they play it safe and all that stuff. Yeah, the problem with a lot of the 2D games of Mario is that they played it really safe. Like all of those
Hmm.
new Super Mario games. That's why honestly I don't even like really go back and play those because I think they're just kind of eh. You know what I
I
mean?
feel like they get repetitive quick,
Yeah,
like
that's why
quickly.
I thought World, 3D World is really cool because like the whole cat suits and they just felt really creative. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
then you go back to like those new Super Mario Bros. Titles, and they just felt really repetitive. Really like they played it like really safe, like they said. And it's cool because this game is like doing a lot of really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like all of the everything, like I don't know, even like the simplest things, like all of the animations, for instance. They were so used to, okay, when Mario goes in a pipe, he kind of just goes in the damn pipe, right? Like he kind of just like
Hmm.
stays motionless and goes in the pipe. There's no like character to it. Here, even like stuff like going in the pipe is more interesting. Like
Like
if you
it
go in
looks
a
like he
pipe,
literally falls down the pipe.
yeah, or if you go in the ones that are sideways, they'll go in the pipe and then like the hat is still like in the air and they'll like grab like their hand will reach out to like grab the hat and like bring it with them. You know what I
Like a
mean?
cartoon.
Yeah. And then like all of the little animations for all like the little like there's more like facial expressions and there's more like character to all of, like the stuff they
Hmm.
do. And
Especially
then like the what?
like the enemies where like in some games you would notice that they would get kind of like mad if you were near them, but here it's very obvious where like you'll stand in front of an enemy like a Koopa and they'll just be walking, right? But then like the moment they get very close like they give you like a very angry glare and then they try to attack you. Like they do stuff like that where like their facial expressions like change immediately when you interact with them.
Yeah, exactly. So there's like, like little facial expressions from like the enemies. I feel like they have like more interesting things going on. I feel like even like the
Hmm.
Mario cast, they have like other little expressions and stuff. And even when they go like down like pipes or stuff like that, it feels like they're showing more like emotion and like, more animations and stuff. The art still is just like really interesting. I like that they
Hmm.
just decided to go for like a more cartoony or just like really, unique art style. I think that's really cool. Um, yeah, the gameplay is just really interesting, man. Like I don't have like that many badges. I have just like a small handful of them, but it's just been interesting seeing the different like badges and like what they do and trying to decide, which one you want to keep. Like, do I want to, have like the wall, what do you call it?
The wall jump.
Yeah, is it really just called wall jump? Where you're like, yeah, I guess it's called wall jump, right? Do you want the wall jump one? Do you want the one where like defeating enemies gives you more coins? Do you want the one where I think it's you use like the hat, almost like a little
Like,
parachute and stuff like
that's
that.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah, like it's been really interesting, like, unlocking different like badges and trying different ones out and stuff. It's been really cool. Um the different characters as well. Like the first one I played as was Daisy because she's obviously never been playable, right? So I started as Daisy,
Hmm.
then I did Mario, then I jumped over to Yoshi, even though I know that he was going to be the easy mode. I tried him out for a while. It was really interesting seeing how like the little easy mode thing kind of works. Then the last person I played as was Luigi. Played a little bit of like with Luigi and stuff. And yeah, it's just been
Yeah.
interesting just like jumping around like with the different characters, it's just kind of fun. And then obviously all like the different power-ups, like the elephant's definitely really interesting. Like not only can you like break through stuff and like use the trunk to like hit enemies,
Hmm.
but the fact that yeah, like if you grab water, you can like use it in certain areas, like revive
Hmm.
plants or like stuff, which is really interesting, like a lot of secret stuff there. And then like the bubble one's really cool, where like yeah, you can use it to like throw bubbles and like capture enemies right in the bubble, and you can use them as like
Hmm.
little platforms. And then I don't know, just like the power ups have been like pretty interesting so far. Haven't had too many of them, but they're pretty cool. And then the wonder seeds are just really interesting.
They
Like
have.
yeah, like every time you get a wonder seed, it does something interesting. Like, there's been like as the trailer shows, there's like a stampede of stuff. There's one where like the pipes are like alive and they're like kind of crawling around. I think it was like the second level. The piranha plants just start like singing, like dancing around, which is like super
Mm.
weird. There was like one where it was like, yeah, it was like a top down sort of thing. There was one where I'm trying to remember what happened in one of them. I don't know. There's like all sorts of stuff. They're like all like interesting though. Like it really mixes things up, you know what I mean? And I don't know, it's just been really fun so far. And
Hmm.
then yeah, I like the story. I mean, there's not much of a story, obviously, as usual, but it's just been interesting. We're like, yeah, you and your friends, whoever you choose to play as, they go to visit Prince Florian, which is a little caterpillar looking guy. And it's really cool because you get to pick and ask you who you want to play as. And then it almost has like a playable intro where you're like walking through the little kingdom, and you like arrive at the castle and you like introduce yourself to Florian or whatever, and that's when like Bowser arrives and stuff. So like I don't know, it's just really cool that you're like in a different kingdom and you're helping out Prince Florian. And Bowser, he combines himself with the castle, and it's all about you kind of reach this area where like you kind of understand like you gotta get these like special types of wonder seeds that'll help you to like I guess break through some of Bowser's barriers and stuff. And like
Hmm.
I don't know, like the whole setup is really interesting. Being in this new kingdom is really interesting. Power ups are cool. The level design, as always, Mario games have always been really good at like unique levels. The
Hmm.
Mario, each of the levels has been really cool, even though we're not in the usual Mushroom Kingdom and stuff. And like, I don't know, everything's just been really fun, really charming, just a good time, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. I agree with all of that. And I like how here, like, yeah, like we've mentioned where everything they add more stuff to, pre-existing things like the enemies, our characters, all that. Another thing I liked was that like you can tell that because this isn't new Super Mario Bros. Where they're just kind of trying to like add new things and that's kind of it. I kind of like how here it's like using everything from every single 2D Mario game or even 3D too. Because I think I've heard that supposedly there's some stuff here and there, and I like how like it grabs references that like literally if you've ever played an old Mario game, you would immediately see it and be like, oh my God, I know exactly what that is. And then it kind of reminds me like the piranha plants you mentioned. I know the singing ones. I think that's supposed to be a reference to an old Japanese commercial.
Oh, no
And so
way.
the Super
That's
Mario
cool.
RPG.
Oh, that's cool.
And so the moment they started singing, I'm like, wait, is this supposed to be a reference to that one commercial? And yeah, someone said that yeah, it's supposed to be a reference. So I was like, oh yeah, like you can tell they put a lot of love into this game, and I loved how much effort was put into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I've seen some of the little like little articles here and there about how they were talking to like the devs and stuff. And apparently, yeah, like they were just told like go crazy and think about all the new ideas you can. And apparently like the production was like pretty chill and stuff to try to like integrate a bunch of new ideas. And like I don't
Hmm.
know, it just seems like yeah, like you said, it's just like a big labor of love. And it seems like they're really like trying to stretch their creative muscles and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's one
Hmm.
of those things where like Nintendo has been doing pretty good with a lot of that stuff lately. I've been really impressed. Like, even though they, once again, not to like be shilling for this huge company because there's a bunch of stuff they do that's really stupid.
Yeah, they do dumb stuff all the time.
Not to say they're perfect, because they do some dumb stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that they do that is pretty impressive, and it kind of makes you like, wow, you got to give props to them. Like a lot of their games and a lot of the way they've released some of these games and stuff, it's been really cool, like the different ideas and like the different, oh, let's bring this back, let's bring that back. And like, I don't know, it's just
Hmm
really impressive, and like this is like, wow, the fact that they made this, like that's crazy. Like it could have been so, another one of those like new Super Mario Brothers games. So I wouldn't say another there's anything wrong with them. It's just that they felt very meh, very safe. The
hmm
fact that they're doing something like this is like so out there, so crazy. It's really cool.
It really is, man. And I remember hearing too that they weren't given a deadline
Yeah, that's what I mean.
for the
Exactly. Yeah,
game.
something like that. Yeah,
It,
yeah.
mhm. And so like the moment you hear that, it's like, oh, that explains why it's so good. Because they had all the time to be perfecting this craft, like,
Yeah, and it
and so
explains
that's the
why
thing.
it came out like so late into the Switch's life too. Because they probably,
Because
it makes sense that Mario Odyssey probably was the big, okay, we need this near the beginning of the life cycle. And then after that, if they had had a deadline, this might have came out like maybe like the year after or whatever. But because they didn't have a deadline, I'm imagining that they just like really took their time and like who knows how long they've been working on this.
hmm because I know that they said they started after they finished New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. And I think the team even said that they were tired of the new Super Mario Bros. Games. And so they even said they're like, can we like make something entirely new? And they're like, yeah. And they're just
Nice.
like, yeah, here, just there's no deadline. Just make whatever you guys need to.
Nice. Oh, and that reminds me, speaking of like, once again, going back to like new stuff, it took me a bit to even notice. This game doesn't have a timer. I think the first time a Mario
Oh
game,
yeah, it's true.
a 2D Mario game doesn't have a timer.
Because usually it has a timer.
Yeah, it
That's
still it
true.
has a timer for some of the Wonder Seed sections,
hmm
but like that's it. Like literally, like the regular, like you're playing a level, like there's not a timer, which is really cool. That's another thing I just thought about. That a lot of people say like it's such a cool approach, not having a timer. I do not miss it at all. I think it's cool how instead, it's just kind of explore the level, and when you look at the little menu where like you can go back and play levels and stuff, it has more of like a little checklist where it's like, okay, did you get like the three
hmm
purple coins? Did you get the two wonder seeds? Did you I
Get
think
the
they
gold flag.
yeah, I think did you like get the gold flag, which means like when you touch the very top of the flagpole and then slide all the way down.
hmm
So it has like a little checklist. So like, those are like the three things usually to do like for each level, which is like that's really cool, you know what I mean?
hmm
So I'm enjoying it. I've been having fun with it. I am really happy with like I said, how they've been so creative with a lot of these like Mario things and like all these like decisions, Nintendo. So I'm happy and I want to keep playing it. I've gone in like, I've gone a good chunk into it, but I'm obviously not done with it. So I just want to keep playing. I want to keep exploring and getting badges and stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm having fun with it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it too, and then I'm gonna like make sure because I've been enjoying collecting all the stuff.
Mhm.
I think this is the Mario game I'm gonna 100% like the 2D Mario game.
Yeah, I could see
hmm
that because yeah, there's just so
And then there's
much to
no time
do.
restraints.
Yeah, that's what that always helps because some of them it's like, oh, the time doesn't really let you explore. And then sometimes
hmm
you can, but here you can just explore and you can like do so much and like the different badges will probably help too to like, I don't know, maybe like if you need to like get to the level quicker or like maneuver through it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just excited to like replay some levels once I get far with like a lot of like the different badges. 'Cause like I said, I don't have too many. I'm actually like excited to go like retry levels and like see how they play with like different moves and stuff. You know what I mean?
Same.
So yeah, two pretty big games that came out. I think both of them are fun. I will admit, Wonder takes it for me though.
It
Nothing wrong.
does, yeah.
It is the more special of the two games. It is the one I like more, but I still like both of them though. I still think they're both pretty fun. And it's like, yeah, good for you, Sonic, and good for you, Mario. Both of you are still kicking, and both of you are still getting pretty good entries. So, props there.
hmm And that's what I was gonna say too, because originally I was more hyped for some reason. I was more hyped for Sonic, but then the moment I played Mario, I was like, nah. I was like, Mario wins this time.
Ah, that's funny. That is really
And
funny.
so I'm like, yeah. I'm like Mario. Yeah, he won my heart back.
Nice. Yeah, the other game that I wanted to play, and it's a shame I would need to get my hands on a PS5. But then
Spider-Man.
yeah, Spider-Man 2 looks like it's really good. I've seen
It
like
is. I've seen it.
I saw like the first like hour of gameplay, and it looks really cool. And it looks
It
like the
does.
story once again is gonna be really like the first story was really good, like all of, like the stuff it showed in it, right? Like
Hmm.
it looks like it's gonna be another really good one. Like the only complaint I've
Hmm.
heard for people who are wondering, I've heard that the only complaint is that this time around the suits aren't as cool.
That
They're
sucks.
like they don't come with like different like moves and stuff like that. And I don't know. I just heard that like, people were like it's still really good, but it is kind of like I hope the third one like really takes the cake.
Yeah.
So like nothing against the game, but it's like, oh, if like the first one was like a 10, if this people are saying this one's like a 9. So
So
like
it's just like
again,
1.0.
yeah,
So
like
it's like,
it just, but I mean, just to give you an idea, that not to say it's bad, but it's just one of those things where it's like,
oh no, no, no. I'm not saying that either. It's just I'm saying that yeah, it's just like you take 1 point away and just say, oh, that's it. Yeah.
yeah, that like the first one was like really wow, mind, breaking, mind blowing, and this one's just like okay, it's a good follow up, but it's not anything like crazy. So people are hoping that the
Hmm.
third one, like once again, just like wow, blows your mind. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's still a fun game. From people I've heard, they say like, oh, it's still like really fun. Like, don't get me wrong. So yeah, I really want to like try that out because I had a lot of fun with that first game. So
It looks really good.
yeah. Alrighty, but I think that's it, guys. I think that's basically our podcast for this week. I told you it was going to be short because we kind of have some things going on, but we still basically covered all the stuff we wanted to cover. We covered the two big games that came out this week. I covered the anime. Hopefully, like I said, I can encourage some people to go watch them. And next week is when we're gonna have our 1 year anniversary thing, and we just have to really decide what we're gonna do to celebrate. Are we gonna have I don't know. What are we going to talk about? What will be like the topics? What are we going to cover? You know what I mean? So next week
Hmm.
might be another weird one where we might just do something totally different, to help celebrate or whatever. But at the very least, hopefully after that, that's when we'll see if we are back with our usual news and topic of the week, and I'll be back with like some new anime and all that stuff. But expect the next one to also be kind of a different one that breaks the formula. But hopefully still you guys still enjoyed this week. Hopefully it was still a fun listening experience. And yeah, we'll see what we do next week. I'm excited because yeah, it's the 1 year anniversary, which is really cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys, but that's going to be it for now. Hopefully nothing gets in the way of us being back next week. That would really suck to miss the anniversary. So, fingers crossed. And yeah, it's a short one, but there you go, guys. We hope that you have a good one. We will try our hardest to be back next week for that anniversary thingy. And take care. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.